Well, maybe it's a propaganda war, or maybe it's becoming something much more dangerous. Maybe now with all of these calls for truth and reconciliation and all these calls for retribution against Donald Trump are going to push Trump supporters into the camp where they're going to say, y'all's rhetoric has gotten so insane, I will not allow you to win. And this story from the Wall Street Journal, I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to point out what it is very quickly because I want to show you exactly what's going on with truth and reconciliation. But Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks wrote for the Wall Street Journal, Democrats, let progressives lead. The establishment blows another winnable election even as Biden wins. Now, Cenk is correct. The Democrats got obliterated across the board, losing state legislatures, losing House seats, making some gains in the Senate. Battle for the Senate is now going to Georgia. But yeah, they could have won if they did a better job, says Cenk Uygur. He's correct. They did blow another winnable election, but he's saying the progressives need to be in charge. I'm going to go ahead and say no to that because the things that we're hearing from the progressives and the resistance types is Now, I know there's not an absolute overlap, but I'm telling you, I'm not going to put the far lefties in charge. I'm not going to bow to them. I'm not going to let them take the reins because here's what's happening. Drew Holden with a Twitter thread. With Biden having been declared the winner for now by major media outlets, I figured it would be a good time to share some of the people who've threatened retribution against Trump supporters. The list is a lot longer than I had anticipated it would be. You know why this story is important? When you have a bunch of high-profile leftists calling for some kind of panel or commission or retribution against Trump's voters, they're going to say, okay, what are my options? If Trump wins, I'm safe. If Trump loses, I face retribution and a truth council. Okay, Trump, whatever you need to win, I refuse to bend the knee. You are telling people if they get power, they are going to get retribution against you? And you think they're going to roll over? No. They're telling these posts are all a call to all of Trump supporters to fight. And that's a problem. That's not how it's supposed to be. We should have unity. Way that guy on CNN saying, you don't ask for unity with your abuser. Okay, dude, if you really think this is where we're at and there's no truth and reconciliation and no actual chance at unity, you're telling people to fight. And we don't want that. We want to chill and have a good time and just live and let live. But I guess when it comes to power, you eventually see the rise of warring factions who refuse to compromise. First, Drew says it wouldn't be right to start with anyone but Robert Reich, who I'll remind you was Secretary of Labor under Bill Clinton and is here calling for the extra legal prosecution of his political opponents as part of a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. You would think such an idea was roundly refuted. Just one blue check going off the reservation. You would be wrong. Here's Chris Hayes from MSNBC saying, the most humane and reasonable way to deal with all of these people if we survive this is some kind of Truth and Reconciliation Commission. The list goes on. There were plenty of blue checks throwing this idea around. Here we have Jay Vagel and Trey Graham. Bookmark this for the 2020 Truth and Reconciliation Commission. One saying truth and reconciliation proceedings and tribunals for Trump admin officials who won't participate are found to have lied. They're saying lock Trump up, put him in prison. Okay, look, I'm saying that's not going to happen. Everybody was saying lock her up to Hillary Clinton. That didn't happen either. The people who live in the real world know that's not what happens. But now the left is saying tribunals, truth and reconciliation. This guy Trey Graham is a verified Twitter. He's a blue checky. Tribunals? What are you talking about? Next thing they're going to be like, bring on the gulags. Drew Holden says, I need you to take a moment to appreciate how utterly bat-ass this threat from Steve Schmidt is. And he says American democracy is under attack. He is, Trump is supported by his White House and campaign staff and several law firms. All of these people are complicit in the assault against American democracy. None of them should ever be forgiven. All of them should pay a brutal price for betraying the American ideal. Oh, it must be so difficult for you up in your ivory tower. Drew says at least we'll know what hats they'll be wearing when they start rounding folks up. Thanks, Jamie Lee Curtis. PA plus GA and many more states, PAGA. My friend Nicole coined this yesterday. Now the hard work of truth and reconciliation. They're doubling down on this perspective today, which is comforting. Here's Quincy. Again, Truth and Reconciliation Commission would be highly useful. Russia is at war with us, and cohort of Americans think that isn't true because their skin is white. Amazing. Okay, I'm kind of a pasty olive and sometimes tan color because I'm part Korean. So what does that make me? I guess white is an idea, huh? Drew says, we've had a lot of think pieces on the subject. Here we have In These Times saying we need a truth and reconciliation process for the Trump era. We had a sentiment from Ellie NYC and The Nation. We're going to need a truth and reconciliation commission to recover from Trump. Perhaps my favorite think piece comes from Will Bunch for the Philly Inquirer. Just normal stuff for a major publication to run. Opinion. What brings U.S. together in 21? Trump in jail? A truth commission? Or something else? I Will Bunch newsletter. Saying, that's why there's a small but growing conversation about a solution seen in places like South Africa that were nearly broken by racism or violence and hate. A national commission on truth and reconciliation. The idea behind such panels is to hold high-profile hearings that aren't geared toward punishment, but exposing the truth of what has happened, no matter how painful, so that once divided citizens can again find a common language or grant amnesty, which will form the basis for the conversation to make sure these things never happen again. Now, they're not saying throw everybody in a gulag yet. What they're saying is, what's that? You believe that Donald Trump actually didn't, you think he won, but Russia didn't interfere? Time to sit in the panel where we will berate you and say, didn't you read the article that says Russia interfered? And you'll say, but the report said, I don't care. The truth is this. Trump was working for Russia. And your skin is white, apparently. Drew says, it surprises me precisely 0% that Salon would give voice to this perspective. Historian David Perry, after Trump will need a truth and reconciliation commission. My friends, has it not become painfully clear this is what's going to happen? And you know what they're going to do with it? It's going to be about social justice, intersectionality. Do you recognize? Have the struggle session, good sir. These are struggle sessions. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission that they're all calling for, maybe it won't happen. Maybe Joe Biden's going to be like, nah, that's a bad idea. Maybe it will happen. And they'll bring people out into public and make them wear dunce caps. And they'll have public struggle sessions where they put you on camera and say, you're so dumb. Why are you so dumb? Right now, this is likely not to happen so long as we have two parties. But the Republicans, as of right now, based on the elections that we're seeing, are on the ropes. Georgia will become ground zero for Democrat control of all three branches of government. If they get all three branches, I wouldn't be surprised if they get their Truth and Reconciliation Commissions and the Republicans can't do anything about it. They'll have total control. They can pack the courts. They can shut down the Supreme Court for generations. And so when you have these people coming out threatening Trump supporters, what do you think a person is going to do? Well, I guess Trump can just lose and then I'll face the Truth and Reconciliation Commission or the gulags, whichever comes first. You think they'll just lay back and accept it? I think the answer is no. And I think what we're seeing is the hyperpolarization has become so extreme, we're on the cusp of total collapse. I don't know what total collapse means. I'm just saying, like, I mean this figuratively in terms of the bridge that divides these two worldviews is gone. There's no mending this. Where do we go from here? Perhaps what we need more than anything is the Republicans to hold the Senate. That way there will be no creepy truth and reconciliation or whatever, and we can return to some modicum of normalcy. I don't think it's going to happen. We've already got people saying things will never be normal again. And the culture war isn't just going to go away. These media vampires are desperate for the Trump bump. If Trump goes away, what are they going to write about? Heavens, how will they make money? Their industry is in collapse. It was in collapse before Trump, but thanks to Trump, they got to write all this stuff, and it made more money. The more Trump said, the more money they made, and they're desperate. Without Trump, what's left? Trumpism. And that's when they come for you with a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. I don't know what that means for regular people. They'll probably, well, actually, I'll say this. For most of you, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, you'll probably not have to worry about anything. I'd imagine for someone like me, I'd get subpoenaed and have to sit in a chair and argue why, I did what I did and said what I said or something like that, and accept their silly commission or whatever. Or maybe it's just a bunch of lefties writing insane things. But let me tell you, they're not lying. They want these things. If they get power, why wouldn't they have them? When they go around marching, they say revolution, nothing less. We've already got rioters now attacking DNC headquarters, targeting Joe Biden. Oh, what's that? I thought the riots would stop if Joe Biden won. Well, that was wrong, wasn't it? Now they're saying F Biden. We don't want him either. There you go. The riots will continue. The only difference now is that you've lost Donald Trump, the man who said we're going to put the riots down. Now you got a guy who's going to go, oh, turn it on a shot of pressure. Congratulations. I'm sure that will stop all the rioters, and I'm sure that will protect you regular Americans who want to fly an American flag when the Truth and Reconciliation Commission comes for you. I don't know what's going to happen, man. Maybe Donald Trump files his legal challenges and loses, and we all go home and everything's fine. Maybe the left has the ridiculous amount of truth and reconciliation they're apparently calling for and creating lists of Trump. Look how long this thread is from Drew Holden. They're saying they want lists of Trump supporters. They've started the Trump Accountability Project. Why? They're telling you what they want. I imagine it's likely. Trey Graham, one of the guys, says, yeah, I can see where seeking the truth would be an issue for you. Enjoy the next 4 years. And Drew said, if there's one lesson to take away from the last 4 years, it's that the Democrats and the media's efforts to look for the truth have a funny way of turning into partisan witch hunts. Here's the takeaway. What do you think happens when you tell Trump supporters your intention is this? They're going to say Trump must win by any means necessary. And that doesn't bode well for anybody. It's going to be worrisome. Are there Trump loyalists in military? Are we in the counting heads phase? Who's loyal to who? I don't know. I have no idea what's happening. It's all very confusing, to be completely honest. I can typically predict certain things, like if you keep doing these things, we're going to see riots, and then we saw riots, and that wasn't really hard to predict. I have no idea what's going to happen now, but I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up in a few minutes. Stick around, and I will see you all shortly.